Welcome to Megan Makes Cupcakes. Today I'll be teaching you guys how to make a Canadian treat called Nanaimo bars. They're actually named after a city in Canada called Nanaimo. These delicious 3-layer bars include a crispy nut and coconut crust, a custardy buttercream center, and a delicious chocolate topping. So stay tuned as I teach you how to make these delicious bars step by step. Okay, so to make this Nanaimo bars, first of all, let's start out with the ingredients we're going to need for our crust, which is the first layer of these bars. So in the description box down below this video, I'm going to list all the quantities for each of the ingredients, so you can look that up later when you want to make the bars. First off, you're going to need to melt the butter. I have that in my bowl here. And you need to whisk the eggs, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add these eggs into the bowl so that I can mix them in with the liquids of the butter. And then we're just going to give those a nice little whisk. Now we're going to add our vanilla. Just using my lid here. Alright. And then you can just add the rest of your dry ingredients here. We have granulated sugar. And here I have just chopped up some almonds really fine, but you could also use walnuts or pecans, whatever type of nut is your favorite. We have some shredded sweetened coconut, some cocoa powder, and we have some chopped up or some processed graham crackers. So you just want to dump all those into your bowl. Just toss them in. We're going to mix these together. And some people, they'll do this over a double boiler so that they can cook an egg for the base. But I find it much easier just to put it in the oven for about 10 minutes, and that way you cook out the eggs really well. Now just mix this thoroughly until it's completely combined. Okay, so you can see we've mixed that together really well. It's thoroughly combined. And then we're just going to take our pan here. I'm using a 9x13 pan because I doubled the recipe. So I like these bars a lot and I want a lot of them. But you can just do a single batch, and if you're going to do that, you're going to want a 9x9 pan. So I just lined it with some parchment paper both ways so that it's really easy to take out later on. And we're just going to scoop that mixture into the pan. At this point, you want to make sure that your oven is preheated at 350 degrees. And I'm just using my fingers to push it down until it's nice and even. Okay, so we spread this out evenly, and now we're just going to pop it in the oven for around 10 to 12 minutes so that we can cook out that egg, and then we'll be back. So for the middle layer, you're going to need some butter, you're going to need some heavy cream, some good quality vanilla, and some instant pudding powder. Now mix the butter together to get it nice and softened up for the other ingredients we're going to add. Now simply add the instant pudding powder into the butter. Now we're going to add a couple tablespoons of cream and a teaspoon of vanilla. Alright, so now you just want to make sure you scrape the edges really well to get everything incorporated and keep mixing. So now you can tell that the color of our mixture has gotten a lot lighter here. It just looks creamier, and that's exactly what we want. And now we're gonna add our powdered sugar about 1 cup at a time because we want it to get nice and fluffy. And we don't want to deflate it by adding too much sugar at one time. Go. All right, let's add another cup of that powdered sugar in now that it's got nice and fluffy again, and we'll continue stirring. Another cup goes in again, and we keep on stirring. This is looking really creamy and delicious, and we're gonna just add 1 last cup, and that's gonna be it. Now we just wanna make sure that we scrape the edges so that nothing gets left behind. And now our filling is nice and creamy and smooth and light like we want it to be, and we're gonna spread it on top of our crust. Okay, so now we have our crust out of the refrigerator. It's been completely cold, and now we're just gonna take that middle layer or our filling And we are going to spread it over the whole surface. Try to get it as smooth as you can because you're going to be pouring chocolate over this. And so any imperfections here will be seen in the chocolate on top. Alright, so we smoothed this out really nice, and we're just going to put this in the refrigerator to let it cool and set while we make our chocolate topping. Okay, so while our center is cooling, we are going to start making our chocolate topping. In here I have 1 part heavy whipping cream and 4 parts chocolate chips. You can either use bittersweet or semi-sweet. Right here I'm using semi-sweet chocolate chips because that's what works well for me. Okay, so we want to put this in the microwave now, and we want to put it at a 50% power, and I'm going to cook it for increments of 30 seconds and then go down to 15 seconds once I get to the end so that we don't overcook this. Okay, so it's been a little more than 30 seconds, and as you can see, it's already starting to melt down. So I'm just going to keep on mixing this until it seems like it can't be combined anymore, and then I'll put it back in the microwave. Alright, so I put it back in the microwave again, and you can see that this time it's coming together even more. Looks like I'm still going to have some more chunks, so I'm going to put it back in the microwave for another 15 to 30 seconds. Okay, so I put it in for another 15 seconds because I had a feeling if I put it in longer, it might start separating or seizing is what they call it. So you want to be careful just not to overcook it. That's why you want to cook it at like a lower power, and you also want to take it out every 15-30 seconds to stir it and agitate it and melt those chocolate molecules. Okay, so we have chilled this middle layer and we finished making our chocolate topping, so we're just going to pour that right on top. I'm just going to spread this over. Alright, so we've let these cool in the fridge now for about a half an hour, and so they're not completely set up, but enough so that they're firmer and we can score them now before they get too set up. And so what I've done is I've just marked like 1.5 inches. I'm trying to make 1.5 inch squares, so I marked every 1.5 inches on this side and every 1.5 inches on this side, and now I'm just going to take a long knife and I'm just going to, it's actually easier if you start from this side and drag your knife down. So if you have a long knife, it's kind of like a lot easier, and you can just go like that. Now we're going to cut the opposite way. Alright, so now we have scored this whole pan, and we are going to stick these back into the refrigerator so that they can firm up completely for about another hour, an hour and a half. Okay, so the nice thing about putting the parchment in like this is it's really easy to pull out of the pan, as you can see that I've done. I've just put it on a cutting board, and this gives me a lot more access to move around and cut the bars. So I've already scored it, we've chilled it for about an hour and a half longer, and now we're just, see how easy it is, we can cut into slices. And when you're done, you will have some delicious Nanaimo bars. And good luck not eating the whole pan. Thanks for tuning in to Megan Makes Cupcakes, and we will see you again next time.